Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to personally welcome you to episode 38 of the I Am Salt Lake podcast. As many of you know me, my name is Chris Hollifield. I'm your host, your guide from episode to episode, as I lead you on that journey through our beautiful city, introducing you to locals, professionals, musicians, just everyday people that are making Salt Lake City what it is today and making it just a little bit better to live in and making it the awesome city that I like to call home. So thank you very much for joining me as I bring you a new episode. If this is your first time listening, thank you very much. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day and taking a listen to what I have to bring with my show. We do have a voicemail line. I'd love to hear back from you. 385-202-5926. That's where you can call up. Tell me what you think of the show. Tell me what you think of the project. Tell me what you think of Salt Lake City in general. I'd love to hear back, and I'd love to maybe even play that on a future episode. So yeah, give me a call, 385-202-5926. But your best bet, IamSaltLake.com, is how you can connect with the podcast. You can listen to each and every episode there. You can also connect with us, with me on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. Just search for I Am Salt Lake. But there is links on the website. Okay, so before I jump into this episode's guests, telling you about them, I want to tell you our friends over at City Weekly, cityweekly.net/bestofutah. They're doing their Best of Utah vote right now, and they have a best podcast category. So it'd be really cool if you took a few minutes and voted for I Am Salt Lake for the best podcast. It'd mean a lot to me. It'd mean a lot to the podcast. That website again is cityweekly.net/bestofutah. A few other personal recommendations of mine would be Best Radio. My good friend John Farmer over at utahmusicians.net. I think he does a heck of a job running that, utahmusicians.net. Also, let's see. Favorite thing about Utah that maybe they forgot to include, feel free to write in Sorry Clementine. That's my wife's store, Sorry Clementine. So yeah, love it, and it'd really mean a lot to me if you just took a few minutes and voted for I Am Salt Lake for Best Podcast. So anyways, this episode's guests, I'm really, really happy to tell you about them. I'm happy that they were able to sit down with me and share their story. Fayth Martinez and Jason Vance. Fayth Martinez, her father started Blue Boutique about 26 years ago, and we talk about the story of growing up with that, growing up in the Blue Boutique household, and as well as what she's doing now. She's managing and helping run the stores here in the Salt Lake City area, as well as they have their own store out in Wendover, Va-Va-Voom. We talk about that and kind of how that's the sister store of Blue Boutique. And then we also talk about Jason's documentary that he's working on called Behind Zion's Curtain. It's kind of exposing the liquor laws, alcohol laws, and talking about some of the silliness behind that. So this is a really, really fun episode. I was really, really excited to bring it to you. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. Just a really, really neat conversation. So you could find all of the show notes over at episode 38, IamSaltLake.com/episode 38. Give you all the links, and as well as so you can watch the YouTube video for that Behind Zion's Curtain, which I'm really personally excited about. I'm really excited for this documentary to get finished up and be able to watch it. Watching the trailers is basically just like a big tease to me. So anyways, I'm going to jump right into that conversation that I had with Fayth Martinez and Jason Vance. Hopefully you all enjoy it. I like to have my guests kind of introduce themselves, kind of who they are, and you guys, I mean, are involved with quite a few projects. We just watched a documentary, Behind the Zion Curtain.
Liquor Behind the Zion's Curtain.
And it
sounds like a porn.
It's dealing with liquor laws, Utah liquor laws. And then I have your wife, Fayth, who manages and runs a lot of the Blue Boutique store, all of the Blue Boutiques.
All of them, yeah.
All of the Blue Boutiques. And then you guys also own a store in Wendover.
Correct.
So we have a lot we could talk about and a lot we could touch on, and pretty much give a little bit of introduction of kind of how you got involved with where you're at, with what you're doing.
Well, I was born into it.
You were born into it, so you
Yes.
didn't have much choice.
No, actually, Blue Boutique opened in 1987. I was 12 years old when it opened. So obviously I didn't start working there till later, but I've been working at Blue Boutique off and on for, I'd say, I've probably been doing this for a good 22 years, 23 years. So
How let's touch a little bit. How did Blue Boutique even start? I mean, how I'm curious of that one.
I don't know if you're from this area, but there was a store called Cosmic Airplane years and years ago. It was a head shop, and it had like books and records, and it was a really cool, like very different store at the time. My father was the buyer for the head shop area, and when the business started to lose money, he jumped ship and started Blue Boutique. So,
Well, how many years ago was that? Did you say?
oh, I would say, well,
86.
86,
The
yeah.
last year they're in business.
So that's in Salt Lake City. I mean, that must have been just a really tough business in general to be involved in Salt Lake City.
Honestly, I was so young.
You were so young.
I don't really know.
But okay, so Blue Boutique in the beginning, though. I mean, that was probably a pretty tough compared to where Blue Boutique is now.
Blue Boutique started out the size of a closet.
Size of a closet.
It was so small that people didn't even.
No, it existed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, either you knew about it or you didn't. So it didn't become more of a big deal until it got to be bigger. And
where was the first Blue Boutique at then?
21st South and 11th East.
Where now they're
Yeah.
the big hole.
Yeah.
The sugar hole.
The sugar hole.
Yeah.
I think they filled it in though, didn't they?
They're trying to.
They're trying to fill it in so it's not an eyesore.
It's still a nice store.
Yeah, I miss that corner.
We all do.
With all the shops. Was it tough being the daughter and growing up
Um,
in that atmosphere, or was it not really much? You didn't really know any different.
I really didn't know any different because my father worked in, I mean, he was a buyer for a head shop, so it wasn't a huge jump from where we were at, so it wasn't anything too out of the norm for me.
So there was the first Blue Boutique, and then how many Blue Boutiques are there now?
There's 4 of them.
4 of them, and they're
Ogden, West Valley, Sugar House, and downtown.
When you had to move from Sugar House, I mean, how was that? Share a little bit of that story, because I know it wasn't all by choice, or any of it was by choice.
Oh, no,
right?
none of it was by choice.
Can I tell this?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
sure,
can go ahead
yeah.
and tell it. Go
Absolutely.
for it.
So I get a phone call from my father-in-law. We were living in Boise, and at the time we'd opened a store in Boise, Idaho, a second Va-Va-Voom up there at the time, just before the economy crashed. And the good religious and kind Craig Meekum decided to kick out and destroy more than 100 jobs over Thanksgiving weekend. And Blue Boutique was the last of the businesses to get kicked out.
How many jobs did you say?
I'd say close to 100 jobs, 100 retail jobs on that little corner. And that wouldn't be really a big issue, the fact that he let it sit like an eyesore for, well, how many years? 5, 6 years now? And didn't do anything with it, making the excuse that he didn't have enough money. He affected families. But on Thanksgiving Day, we came down and we moved the last of the Blue Boutique out so he could get it ready for the wrecking ball.
And you didn't have any other place set up to go to at that time?
They actually
In Sugar
did,
House,
and
right?
and I know for a fact that the family asked him to not evict them until, have us leave until January 1st, which would have allowed everybody to stay in, to do Christmas, to get settled in, and then the building that they're in now would have been completed.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, the building you're in now in Sugar House is nicer, in my opinion.
It's a beautiful
As much
store.
as I miss that corner, the 11th and 21st.
It's a beautiful store. It doesn't have quite the charm of the old store.
Yeah.
The old
Alternative
feel of it, but it is a beautiful store. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's worked out fine.
Let's actually back up just a little bit for people, say the 2 or 3 people listening in that don't know what Blue Boutique is. How would you describe Blue Boutique to somebody that's never heard of Blue Boutique? I mean, what do they sell in Blue Boutique?
Everything you want, nothing you need.
That's pretty much the truth. I would say it's a really very upscale Victoria's Secret, at least Sugar House store is, with a naughty side to it.
And I know, I mean, you sell porn in there, right? Or no?
No, you can't in the state of Utah.
No, not even any softcore porn?
You can sell cable rated.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah, which is the same stuff you're gonna get
in
on.
Utah, that's porn. That's as close as we get here.
Well,
Mitt Romney pioneered it in Utah.
Did he really?
Oh yeah, Marriott used to sell. It was the biggest porn distributor in the state.
I had no idea.
Go to a hotel room and put it on that adult channel. You get the same thing you could get in Blue Boutique.
Well, no, I think you can actually get the real stuff.
No, probably.
But you can't get that in Blue Boutique. You can get magazines, but you can't get actual penetration because of the laws here in this state. So,
do you ever see those laws changing? Probably not.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And at this point, I don't think it's a really big deal because if you have a smartphone, you can see porn.
Well, yeah.
So,
the internet. Who really buys porn anymore, anyways, right?
It's kind of sad.
Hey, don't say that. We built Va-Va-Voom on selling porn.
Yeah, which I want to touch on here in a second, just because I find this so. But you also do piercing there, body piercing, or no? At Blue Boutique, I know that they used to. I haven't been into the store for a while, so.
We do body piercing at two of the locations.
Two of the locations.
The two bigger locations, yeah. And we've been piercing, I'd say, probably since, I'd say 93, 94. Those might be wrong.
And was there a reason you decided to bring piercing in, or you just thought it'd be a good fit?
You know what? It was just something that was. It was a need that no one was doing, and we saw it, and so we jumped on it, and it just kind of stuck with us. So we're still doing it to this day.
Would you say, I mean, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Would you say that's one of your biggest
Oh, it is
sales?
the very biggest.
So it's kind of like the Christmas for the industry.
Yeah.
Are you starting to feel it now?
I started planning for it right after Christmas, so yeah, we're ready to go with it now. So.
And talk about, so you have a store in Wendover as well.
Correct.
That you guys are the owners of that. Talk about that a little bit. Was that originally Blue Boutique or no?
Yes. Long story short, yes.
You feel like you probably told the story a million times.
I probably have. Basically, Wendover's Blue Boutique's sister store. That store was actually open to sell everything you couldn't sell in Utah, which was pornography, clove cigarettes. We sold.
Okay, so in Wendover, though, I remember I went to a strip club in Wendover once, and I wasn't any more impressed with it in Wendover than I was in Utah. I mean, what laws are different in Wendover compared to Utah?
We can sell full-on pornography, and we have for 14 years now? 13 years.
It'll be 13 years.
13 years we've sold.
Really? Okay.
We figured out one day we've sold like 75,000 pornos out of the store.
But that's on the Nevada side, right? Not the Wendover, Utah side.
It is on the Nevada side. It's in between the casinos and the strip clubs up there. Strip club now.
And you've been there for 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, if you've been there that long, it's been successful. Who are some of your people? I mean, Wendover. I mean, who goes to Wendover except to gamble? I mean,
well, this is exactly what they do. They go to Wendover.
They go to gamble and then
go to
buy
Wendover, have a good time to avoid their bishop,
and then buy some porn.
Buy some porn, buy some toys, buy a magazine, buy some kinky lingerie, buy some nice lingerie.
I think a lot of people go out to Wendover because it's a lot cheaper to go out for a weekend and make a weekend out of it than to go to Vegas. It's closer, it's cheaper. It's just a quick trip out there,
And is that kind of why you decided to put that location there? Because it is only a couple-hour drive versus.
Well, do you want to hear the story on exactly what
happened?
Happened?
Let's hear the story. That's what we're here for.
So me and my father-in-law, she was pregnant with our child, and I had a job where I'd work a week in San Francisco, and I'd work 12 to 18-hour days and come home, and the time I was home, my lovely wife here had asked me to leave. Because I was annoying her because I was home, for 10 days at a time. So her dad and I loved to gamble, so we'd go out to Wendover all the time and start gambling. The idea with the Wendover store was to ship pornography to Utah because it was like, well, we can ship it over state lines, but we can't sell it on state lines. It's kind of one of those gray market areas. We actually went to the city and sat down and asked them if we could set up a warehouse where we could ship adult toys and pornography and lingerie out of there. They basically told us we needed a full-on sexually oriented business license. So we went out gambling. We thought, Eureka, we'll start another retail store. So we went up to the city. We went up to city planner, asked them if we could set up a store. And we go just like Blue Boutique, which was the time the only one in Sugar House. And he said, well, of course you can, and you don't need a sexually oriented business license. So we ended up opening up the store based on some arbitrary laws that they'd set up that would not allow us to ship it, which would not have been open to the public. But now we opened up the store open to the public, and so her mom, her dad partnered with us to open up the store years ago.
What would you say some of the hottest selling items are?
Parody porn.
Parody porn.
Like,
what is it? Sarah Palin and.
Oh, I'm talking more like Star Wars Triple
okay.
X, Batman Triple X, Top Gun Triple X. Hustler's done an amazing line of parody stuff.
I don't even order porn. It bores the hell out of me. So that's his job. I go, okay, whatever.
and we kind of touched on that. I mean, a little bit about people. I mean, why would you buy it? I mean, it's online. What do you think people buy it because it's more discreet than versus? I mean, curious. I mean, maybe I don't know. I guess I'm curious on that one.
I do have some thoughts about it. I do notice out in Wendover, the people who are really buying pornography anymore are a lot of older men. So I'm seeing men anywhere 50s, 60s, 70s who are now coming in and buying pornography because they're not quite sure. I don't think they're quite comfortable downloading it. But, I could be wrong.
Porn's steadily down, and me and Fayth have thought this for 5 years. The porn, the sales, we were going up and up and up until about 5 years ago, and now steadily declining. But what it is, for our business is it's higher quality. It's more of the, haha, this is funny, take it to a party, show. It was today's parody porn was the midget porn of, 10 years ago, where somebody would have it.
I still like midget porn, though.
Everybody likes midget porn.
Yeah.
But I think that the whole pornography thing. Why do people buy it? One, I think the length. Two, I do think the quality. I mean, I actually sat down and I hardly ever watch porn. 13 years later, looking at the Star Wars Triple X, and for a budget of $1 million, I was actually impressed. They use some of the computer graphics outfits in California to do the special effects, and it was actually a very good production versus what it used to be. Some guy get a couple girls together, get them drunk, get them high, and shoot a porno.
Well,
this
you're
was
the
actually
pizza
real
delivery boy or something like
exactly. This was real production value.
Interesting. Being in Wendover, there's only. I mean, how big of a city is Wendover? I mean,
It's tiny.
Tiny.
I would say.
Would you say you get a lot of out-of-staters that come through?
That's pretty much, I'd say 99% of all of our sales are coming from people coming from Salt Lake partying for the weekend.
Tell me something about yourself that people listening wouldn't expect based off of what we've talked about so far. I mean, like okay,
we're really boring.
You're really boring.
We're probably more normal than you are.
More normal. So, I mean, that's an interesting subject. So a lot of people automatically expect, okay, these guys work at, Blue Boutique and Va-Va-Voom, that you're just these sex crazed people. I mean, would you say that a lot of people lump you into that?
Yeah, people expect crazy things like I have a dungeon in my house, and
we could sell that stuff.
No, I would. Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, even how you joked in the text message, whips and chains, and all of that. Like, it's kind of like this automatic assumption that if you live in Utah and you have any desire or idea of that, then you're automatically this crazy.
We're actually really normal. I have a daughter in a private college, another daughter in a private school. They're very, very, we're very academic oriented, very much about, family and home. And,
Now, how did you guys meet? I mean, share a little bit of that. I mean, that must have been a little bit of an interesting story.
I stalked her at Blue Boutique.
For real?
Oh, my little sister worked there, so.
Okay.
Should I tell them this?
Go for it.
I actually paid $50 for her to go on a date with me to my little sister, which she took.
My
little sister.
It worked.
It worked, I guess. I'm still here 18 years later.
So you guys both grew up in Utah?
Yes.
Yes. He actually grew up in Utah County, which is hilarious.
That's where I got family in Utah County.
I grew up in American Fork.
And I mean, what were some of the challenges that you guys felt? I mean, growing up, I mean, that was quite a few years ago. I mean, Utah. I mean, we progressed here. I think Salt Lake City's progressed.
I think that me and Jason come from very different sides of the tracks. I always grew up in a very alternative family. I mean, my father was a buyer for a head shop. My mom was a bookkeeper for a warehouse that sold pipes and bongs growing up. So for
So
me,
you didn't grow up in a Mormon family?
oh
then?
no,
Okay.
no, no, no. And then I met there's a lot of Mormons in the community, of course, but me personally, I never grew up under that umbrella of church and
So, well, I mean, I'm curious though. Then why? I mean, I'm going to be honest. Why is your family here? I mean, at the end of the day, why did they decide Salt Lake? I mean, granted, now we have a lot of people that aren't Mormon,
yeah.
but back then, I think it was very prominent Mormon.
My parents are from Wyoming.
Okay.
So coming from Wyoming
To
to
Utah.
Salt Lake is like a big city.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and this was many, many years ago. So it was something close enough to their families, but far enough away. So I mean,
And they liked it. I mean, I guess I mean, it is a beautiful
Yeah.
city. I just am curious because it just seemed like it would be so much easier.
my parents
do
aren't very old though either. My parents had me as teenagers.
Yeah.
I'm not realistically very. My father and my mother are not that much older than me.
Mhm.
I think my dad's 17 years older than me.
Yeah.
My mom's 18 years older than me.
But still though to even with Va-Va-Voom you went to Wendover, whereas it's a little easier.
Yeah.
We
versus-
live here in the city.
Yeah, but I mean in Salt Lake City, I'm sure it would be a lot easier to open the same kind of shop in a different state. I'm sure it was very rough to deal with. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. It just seems like it would be tougher.
Maybe I don't really know. I can't speak from experience on that, but I will say this is I think if Blue Boutique was open up in a different state, it wouldn't do as well as it's done here.
Yeah, and okay.
And just because people are so weird about their own sexuality and they're so quiet and freaked out about it in this state that Blue Boutique's become the naughty store. It's become the novelty to shop at.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, even in the last few years
Yeah.
versus, say, in the 80s or even the 90s, Salt Lake City and Utah, we've gone through a lot of change for the better.
Yeah.
They actually protested Blue Boutique, 6 years ago when they opened up the new location.
Who? Wait, say that again. Who?
We actually had protests in front of the store.
Well, see, okay,
6
so
years ago,
that
it really
yeah.
hasn't changed that much.
That's kind of where I'm getting at, where it's like, okay, so there. Would you say you would have the same kind of protests in a different state? Would you say you're going to deal with that same kind of attitude in a different state? Or I guess you always have those right-wing people.
I think you're always going to have the right-wing people, but the one thing I've noticed about Utah and Salt Lake being born and raised here is there's two different sides of this town, and there's the very staunch religious and there's the very alternative. I don't know if that's the right word, but the very opposite of that. Right wing versus very alternative of that, and I think Blue Boutiques always just kind of fit into that opposite side, and so people who are not of that church and that belief system have always fought for these type of businesses.
Yeah.
So,
and there's nothing. I mean, obviously, I don't even mean that in a bad way. That there's people that are against. I mean, everybody's got different values.
everybody each to their own.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And I'm curious. You mentioned the protesters. I'm curious now. Was it an organization or group, or was that the first time that's ever happened, or what?
No, it wasn't the first time it's ever happened, but it was the most entertaining, I think.
Was it kind of the similar protests you'll see like down conference weekends? And
They
stuff
picketed. Like they got their panties in a bunch. Basically, they said that they didn't want their kids shopping at Highland and from Highland High School, walking past the Blue Boutique because it was there. But Blue Boutique followed every single law, every single rule to get in, and it was approved all the way. And frankly, it's like, how did you think they got the children? It was a bunch of people, and it's just like what I was reading in the news. I don't know if you read that down in Utah County, one of the companies had the road called Morning Glory.
Yes,
and some Mormons got their panties in a bunch because they said that was slang for a guy having wood. I've never heard that, and I work in this industry.
And it's funny that you mentioned that because I thought the same thing. I'm like, I've never heard of it referred.
I've never heard of that either.
Yeah,
but it was a big deal 6 days ago about it, and you just go, really? Do you really have to get in other people's thing? I think that one of the problems is with the way the state is, that it is very diametrically opposed, but it's diametrically opposed because one half of the state wants to, basically wants to figure out what the other half of the state's doing, which is, the religious side of it is going, okay, we don't want you to do this and this, and the other side goes, do what you want, we don't care.
Yeah.
And so Blue Boutique's always been kind of on that side of do what you want, have fun, and we don't care what you do, but why do you care what we do?
Do you think
So-
there's a lot of closet people as well?
Oh, yeah,
a lot
I
of
know
people
it.
that try to act like they're against it, but they secretly.
I've witnessed it for years. I've been part of that store since day one, and it's not, it's not uncommon to have a group of people come in and laugh at everything in the store, and then days later see those people coming back one by one shopping. It's not uncommon to have people drive all the way to Wendover because they don't want to be caught by their bishop or their friends
Yeah.
to buy these products. And they will drive clear to 120 miles out to Wendover to pick up these products just so they don't want to get busted. And I think there's something a little sad about that, but at the same point, that's their life, and
That's what they.
that's what
When
they have to
I
do.
lived in Provo for a while, and I had a buddy that whenever we wanted to go get some beers, we'd have to drive from it was actually Orem to Springville.
On Sunday, huh?
Well, no, it wasn't on Sunday. It was just so because he figured nobody would know him there.
Yeah.
And I generally wish people could just be more open and honest,
I just wish
and
that
realize it's not a bad thing to have an open mind, really.
Live and let live.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
You do your thing, I'll do mine, and don't bother me, and I won't bother you.
What do you think the biggest misconception of Salt Lake City is? That from what you guys have experienced?
That's hard to say. I'm born and raised here, so it's hard to be objective about Salt Lake, I guess, from an outsider looking in. But I think maybe the biggest misconception for people is, we're not all shiny, happy, bright people. That Mormon portrayed innocence.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a huge counterculture in the state. I'd say probably more than even some other cities I've lived in.
Well, and I think that's what even makes Salt Lake City such a great city, in my opinion, because you
Salt
have
Lake
this
City's weirdo.
you have this counterculture that's fighting back against the regular.
Yeah.
I think the biggest misconception of the state is that we're all shiny and clean when we have one of the biggest prescription drug problems in the country.
Yeah.
Where people see that, in the state that people are like, oh, drinking's bad, and, smoking pot's bad, and doing this is bad, and having sex is bad. But at the same point, we have, all these housewives all over who are popping Prozac or popping Valium and, doing that. And so people think this is shiny, squeaky clean place, but in fact, it's not.
I've actually been told that it's pretty easy to go get a Prozac prescription from the doctor.
It is.
Compared to other states. I mean,
I know they've done a bunch of studies, and we have one of the worst prescription drug problems in the state. And now it's not OxyContin, it's not the hillbilly heroin, but it is some sort of mood altering drug. But everybody thinks, oh, Mormons don't do this. No, they just don't. My own mother passed away 5 years ago, and a part of her problem was because she was popping prescription pills her whole life.
Why do you think they're so readily available? Why do you think they get prescribed so quickly?
Because an authority will say it's okay.
Okay. And I find that interesting, Okay, so a doctor can prescribe you a beer, it'd be okay.
Well, that actually happens,
Does a doctor
No, that was one
probably
of the things
back
during,
in the 20s.
During Prohibition.
Yeah.
Utah actually had, that's kind of the background of the 3.2 beer, was because doctors would prescribe that as a medicine.
Let's actually, since you brought up the 3.2 beer, let's jump into the documentary that you're working on. Kind of what inspired you to decide to do a documentary about Utah's liquor laws? What was the prompting, the inspiration behind it?
Rage, anger, wanting to, I've always wanted to do filmmaking, animation. My background's, I went to the U of U in graphic design, and so I've sat down over the last, 18 months and started on a project that I think's going to be, close to, ending here, when the new Utah legislature comes in. But it's just what it is just the perception of Utah to outsiders and what they see. I mean, it's people come in and go, oh, you can't get a beer. Yeah, you can, but you have to do a song and dance. You can't do this, can't do that. I guess my anger with this is I'm, after growing up here, very atheist. Mm-hmm. And so I do believe that, one, you should bring logic and reason into everything in government. Now, that never happens because you get religious zealots in there controlling everything. But, Utah has a special sort of crazy with their laws. and hence the name Liquor Behind the Zion Curtain. It has, when they came up with that law, they can't come up with any study behind it actually saying this will help or do it. Because, if it's, reduce, kids drinking, okay, I'd be for it.
Now, what law do you mean? Just any of the liquor laws?
Well, a lot of the liquor laws, they make no sense.
Yeah.
If you go through like some of the song and dance that people have to do, it's completely ridiculous. They just did a bunch of raids. I don't know if you remember, just before Sundance, of a bunch of restaurants who were actually normal in every other state and every other place in the world. And I've been to all over the world. You go to a restaurant, right? You get a drink, you look through the menu, and then you order some food. That's pretty standard culture across the whole world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not in Utah, because they have 32 different types of liquor licenses. And they make you do X, Y, and Z to get them instead of just going, okay, we do this. What infuriates me, when started me the documentary, is Mormons always tell me, and I grew up Mormon, so I can say that I have almost all my family's Mormon. But what's crazy is they say they're about the free market. No, they're not. If they were, these laws would be very different. They would live and let people do that. They're about controlling a monopoly, is what they're about. And so I'd like to point it out, to the rest of the country. Yeah, they are crazy, and they are weird, and they are bizarre. Utah's only one of 2 states that controls their liquor from top end to top down.
What do you mean by
so
state
coming to the state, has to go to state representative. They have to vet it. It goes into liquor stores. The liquor stores there, the bars have to buy it from the liquor stores. Consumers have to buy it to the liquor stores, and so they control every aspect of that.
Because I was in Pennsylvania. I lived in Pennsylvania.
That's the second
Pennsylvania.
state.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I thought that was state-run as well.
That is state-run as well. And those are the only 2 states that are completely 100% controlled by the government bureaucrats.
Your film, I mean, tell in a couple of sentences. I mean, basically, it's just exposing the liquor laws, or is it more just kind of talking about it? I mean, how would you describe your film that you're doing?
This is how the state of Utah runs it. They do not care about you. They do not care about the bars. They do not care about anybody involved in the industry, anybody participating in the industry, whether you go out and have a beer or not. What they care about is the taxes that come in, and they want to control that 100%. The way people have to jump through this is basically some legislature and some legislator in some little city gets a hair up his ass and he goes, I want this in the liquor laws because of this and this and this. He goes in, makes it, they all vote it in, and people have to make the change. They don't look at it to see how it affects the industry. They do not look to see how it's is ran. They just go, let's just make it and make it so. Hence, the Zion Curtain. There's certain bars and restaurants now that actually have to put up a partition around the bartender.
And I've heard about that.
And there's a couple of places that do that. And I showed you one of the trailers. Jimmy DeBlimo of the Devil's Daughter has actually had to put one up every 6 months because, one, there's not enough liquor licenses for him. So he gets a seasonal license, but then he has to put up a Zion Curtain to protect the children, to make sure they don't do it. But when you say no rhyme or reason, right? I can have a big beer, glass of wine, whatever, and your kid's going to be sitting right next to me at the table over. The influence of that, the laws.
So
like
what's
that,
the purpose of having that?
There is no purpose.
Okay.
There was somebody got a hair up his ass to do it.
And they thought maybe they could make a few extra bucks as well.
Possibly, or they could make bucks by people fining people.
Think of the children.
So how hard is it to get a liquor license? I mean, when say I decided I wanted to get a liquor license.
Do you want a club? Do you want a bar? Do you want a reception hall? There's 17 different denominations of liquor licenses in the state of Utah.
Yeah.
And they all have different quotas of what they can do. So is it hard? Yes, it's very hard. We've in the documentary, I've done things like talk to I don't know if you know this, but South Salt Lake City has the only urban vineyard in the city.
And what is that?
Kyler Grove. It's over on Main Street. He doesn't actually grow the grapes here, but he actually ferments them here.
Wow.
There's a little winery. Jimmy DeBlino, 3 years he's waiting for a club license. Hasn't been able to get it because there's been none available.
Do they think that they're making it so less people drink? Is that what the idea behind it is?
I think that's the idea of the laws, but the problem with the laws are liquor consumption has been going steadily up for the last 10 years in the state of Utah. So whatever laws they enact, they have not done their job, if that's what they're thinking they've done.
Yeah.
People always figure out a way around it, right?
I mean, if you're going to get drunk, you want to get drunk, and if you're going to figure out a way, you're going to figure out a way to do it. I mean...
You asked one of the reasons I did it. If you've ever you live in the Sugar House area,
yeah.
One of the most infuriating things to ever have to do is go get on a Saturday night about 7:00 and get a bottle of vodka.
The liquor store over there is ridiculous.
Now, coming from that, and running a retail store for 13 years, my wife has ran and been involved with a retail store. Well, since you're a kid,
Well, yeah, I've been around retail my entire life.
would you ever actually run a store like that,
Absolutely not. I would
open up probably about 5 more of them.
or open them on Sundays, open them on the holidays? Blue Boutique and Va-Va-Voom is only closed 3 days a year.
Blue Boutique,
and
same.
did they want to shut down some liquor stores though too?
Yes.
Or did they shut down some liquor stores, even though they're one of the most profitable?
They were the most profitable liquor stores, where they wanted to shut it down. The people that run the retail business are morons in the state. I mean, complete and utter morons. They do not know how to run retail. They get some people in that know how to do this. They would make 10 times the profit, and the overhead would be cut. They use police department people to be security. Who does that in retail? Police officers, they get paid on an average of $14 an hour. I know for a fact most private security companies pay their guys $9. So they run this place and they just don't care. And so that's my kind of behind it. I'd like to expose it. I'd like to get people angry about it. I'd like to get them pissed off, because the problem in the state of Utah is what we all do. Oh, okay, it's just Utah. And then we go out of state, and like me and my wife, we go to Las Vegas quite a bit for trade shows, and it's so nice to be in a real city that doesn't have these rules and restrictions. And yes, Salt Lake City. I live in Salt Lake City because the clean living. Well, not the clean air living, but the clean living.
The air is.
You live in Salt Lake because of my family's there, and
okay,
and my
Salt Lake City is I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's a nice city to live in, and I mean, I live here by choice. Yeah. Absolutely. Granted, if you don't like it, people say, "Hey, yeah, move," and I agree. Move if you don't like it. But at the end of the day, too, I don't think that there's anything wrong with being upset with certain laws or certain things and saying, you know what, I live here, I want to live here, I want to change those.
Like Ben Raskin said when he said the best thing in my documentary, Scott probably got the best line. They always say, we're all against, we're against drunk driving. We're all against drunk driving.
Who wants that? Yeah.
Nobody wants drunk driving. If the state of Utah is actually against drunk driving, they'd have public transportation later at night.
Yeah.
Near the bars. Like the tracks, downtown, closes at 11. We're getting in Sugar House, the little trolley. I can guarantee you the last train will come in about 11:15.
Weren't they going to do neighborhood pubs or something? What happened to that?
They're trying to put that through, but, we live in Sugar House, so we have neighborhood pubs.
Yeah.
We have 2. I mean, I guess we're lucky considering.
Or we can just go get a 30-pack and go hang out with our neighbors.
True.
And get to meet our neighbors. So, the documentary, is there a website, or is there a YouTube video or something?
BehindZionsCurtain.com.
Behind Zion's Curtain. And can someone find it on YouTube? Because maybe I'll even...
There is on YouTube. There is on Vimeo.
Okay, because I was going to say maybe I'll link that up on the...
I will give you the next
Lake.
trailer here, because we're going to release it in honor of the next trailer in honor of the new legislative session coming in next Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. So that could change... they're going to be talking about some liquor laws with that.
They want to make some changes, and it's going to be Senator Valentine and his crew, not actually talking to anybody in the industry, but they're going to go, well, we're going to make these changes, even though none of them have ever actually ran the industry.
What's been some of the feedback from, you've talked to a lot of bartenders and a lot of public, obviously from the clip I saw. What's been some of the feedback on the documentary you're doing?
There's a lot of, liquor laws that make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things, and I'll tell you this, what Dave Morris from Piper Down, he was actually one of the most candid of all the bartenders. He was actually one of the ones that was instrumental in getting the private club laws changed. Uh-huh. He actually said, here's the things that are good about Utah liquor laws. It gives him a monopoly, so that if he has a shitty bar, he doesn't have to compete. That's what Utah liquor laws do. What they do is they squash competition. They do not open up the market. They do not help out anything, and they don't prevent drinking. Do they, prevent underage drinking? There's no real study actually out there that says they do.
Yeah.
So do they do anything? Basically what they do is they make it a pain in the butt for every single person every time you want to do something. If you want to go to, me and my wife like to go to get breakfast on Sundays.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do, 11 o'clock, go in. Depending on your restaurant license, we don't know what you can actually order. Can you get a beer or a margarita, or you can get a shot?
It just makes it very complicated and hard.
Hair of the dog? No, I'm sorry, we can't do that for 4 more minutes. Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's wait 4 minutes. What's the first thing you would change with the liquor laws? If you had an opportunity to change something with what's the very first thing you would change?
Completely and 100% privatize it. Let them get their tax money. Get them out of the business.
privatize
the whole liquor industry. Even if we have to go to the really bad federal 3-tiered system, get the state of Utah out of the liquor business.
Isn't that what the private club for members?
No, privatizing would be this. So, say for instance,
I just drink it. I don't really study the laws.
Give you for instance, and one of the things. One of my good friends owns a company, a place called Bruforia Beer Market, and we'll give you the link to the new trailer. He tried to come and do a beer festival here after 5 years. When we didn't have anyone, and City Weekly had thrown theirs. He was trying to do one, and we've been to his in Boise, Idaho. They're epic. They're awesome. 45 different, breweries in, with each of them bringing 3 to 4 different types of beer. You go in, you can drink, you can be an adult. Oh my God, we can actually bring our child with us.
Yeah. And
not have to fear that he has taxi cab service, everything. So if you had too much to drink, he's going to get you home. Does all that. Can't do it in the state because they're going to nickel and dime them. They're going to cost a lot of money to do it. He had actually looked at a couple studies, and the Seattle Beer Festivals and the Portland Beer Festival brings in $20 million every time they throw that. Now, if you look at what's going on today, right, with that $20 million, Outdoor Retailer only brings $20 million each time they do their show, which is a lot of money. Yeah. But what they're doing is they're stifling the economy.
Absolutely.
So privatizing it, getting the Department of Alcohol and Beverage Control, you still have cops that are going to enforce the laws. You're going to still have people to do that, but they're not going to buy the liquor. They're not going to tell you what you can and can't serve. They're not going to tell you what kind of drinks you can serve. Anybody listening, go order a martini in the state of Utah and then go order a martini in any other state and tell me the difference.
Stronger.
It's made properly. Order a Long Island iced tea in any other state and then order one in Utah. They're not the same thing. It's because these legislators go, oh, we need to make you do it this way. Get them out of the business. Just give them their tax money, let them do that, and call it a day.
What do you think when the private club for members thing did end, though? Was that kind of like a hooray thing in your head, or did you... I mean, I didn't see that really ever coming. I saw that staying in Utah for a long time.
I think it did more for negative PR having the private clubs
than
anything else they could do. There's going to be people 40 years from now I remember the Utah, we can't get a drink there, so we're going to go to Denver.
Yeah. Do you think it hurts our tourism?
Absolutely.
The drinking?
Absolutely. Think of, Colorado now. Even I would rather go on a ski, and I don't even ski, and I'd rather go on a ski vacation to Colorado. They can go, they can have a drink, marijuana's legal, it's a nice place, you're not going to be harassed all the time. I'd rather go there than here in Utah.
And it's interesting because that was one of the first things I thought of too when that whole legalization passed. I was just like, wow, okay, there's one more thing to hurt our economy, and that's the last thing. I mean, I want nothing more than to see our economy thrive.
Absolutely. Me and my wife have built our lives, around here. We've moved out twice, and we keep coming back.
So the documentary, you're gonna have a screening anywhere for that then when that.
What I'd like to do, and I'm still kind of working at like movies, and work with those guys, or work with the Salt Lake Cinema Society, the Broadway and those guys, and have a screening there. What I plan to initially wanted to do it and get it distributed. I think what I'm going to do is have some a couple screenings around the West, and then I'm going to give it away for free and just kind of go the route of if you want to buy the high res DVD version or the downloadable version on Amazon, we'll kind of go that way.
That's probably been a pretty expensive project to do, I would imagine.
Don't hit me, hon.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not looking for a dollar amount, but I mean...
No, she's equipment. I'm like, I really need this to do it.
I mean, so you're this is all coming from your own pocket and your own thing.
Shoestringing it, doing it same thing. I've got about, right now, close to an hour of footage, edited and together. I'm just waiting for the addicts to come on this.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. I remember seeing a trailer for it a bit back and being like, man, what happened to that? Where is that? So. Anyways, anything else on that? I mean, with Blue Boutique, with Valentine's coming up, I mean, any specials or sales or anything you got going on that you want to mention? Because this will be going up pretty quick here. So if there's
no, not that I can
really
think about the top. We do have our sexologist. We have our Mormon sexologist coming in. So
next week.
Yeah,
what does a Mormon sexologist here? Why are we in this out here?
I'll let Jason take this one over.
What?
This is just.
I remember you mentioned that in an email.
She actually grew up in Orem.
Okay.
She left. Her husband are LDS and married. She left, and she actually got her doctorate degree through UNLV as a sexology degree that they offer. What she does, she doesn't offer things like sexual surrogacy. She doesn't offer things like sex therapy in terms of, people that have, bizarre sex fetishes or, sexual addiction. What she does concentrate on is making people happy and intimate together. And she does that by working with them about toys, technique, what they can do to bring intimacy back into their life. She had actually contacted Blue Boutique, and she, as she says, she did her own, or it was her very first place she ever bought a sex toy from. So now we've partnered up with her. She's going to come 3 to 4 times a year, come to Salt Lake City. She lives in San Antonio, Texas, and her name is Dr. Melissa Jones. You can go to the blueboutique.com website, and there's all kinds of links to her.
And can you sign up for these classes?
You can sign up for the classes. They're $25, and
for one class, 3 classes.
There's 4 classes.
$25 for 4 classes?
No, there's $25 per person per class.
Okay, I was gonna say, well, wow, that's a great deal, folks.
Your wife's coming back. I'd be more than happy to hook you guys up with some free tickets to come and see what you think of it. Here's and actually we sat and watched 2 of her seminars, and I was actually impressed because she actually believes the same thing that me and Fayth believe, that the key to a relationship, and I've always said this, that me and Fayth and the families brought more people together than any single therapist ever has, because I believe that people should have the intimacy, they should have the techniques, and they should just love each other.
If more happened in the bedroom, I think there'd be a lot happier couples, without getting too in depth there. But
so I got one question for you. We brought you a goodie bag.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was gonna take a look at this actually, and
I have no idea what's in there.
Yeah. So
here's the really funny thing we bought.
Yes, you'll be fabulous in that.
Yeah, I'm looking through this, and I have no idea.
Here's the story behind this.
Okay.
We just you've heard about the Avian show, right?
The what show?
No. Oh. So we've got a bunch of product, and we just got to you and your wife can enjoy.
Yeah. And that we have some Nenwa balls. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, the same thing as Benoit balls. You've heard of the 50 Shades of Grey mommy porn?
I've heard of it. I've never read it.
This was like one of the main things they featured in it.
Now, is that a movie or just a book?
They're actually turning it into a movie. Right?
Okay.
But it's just a book for the moment.
And what else do we have in here? We have some... What is this here? You have to... Some of this stuff you're going to have to tell me what... Watermelon mask.
Oh, I think that's edible lubricant, I think.
This helps with the male climax.
Yeah. Oh, well, see...
I guess I just have to read the packaging, huh? Oh, here we go. Here's
what I said. I mentioned whips and chains.
There's the whips.
Yeah, it looks like it's a lot of the 50 Shades of Grey kind of stuff coming out of there.
Then we have the arousal gel. There we go. This is like Christmas going on over here.
And a few other little goodies.
Yeah, and I'll have a little present for the wife when she gets back. And she'll be like, what is all this? What do we got here? Some more lubricant. Never have enough lubricant. And you can get all of this at Blue Boutique and Va-Va-Voom.
That and about...
Now, do you guys have a website you can order from then as well?
blueboutique.com and va-va-voom.com.
Okay.
And both of the websites, there's about 10,000 different products you can order from.
Some chocolate condoms and some more lubricant. What would you say? I mean, do you guys sell a lot of these lubricants?
I think we probably sell more
We sell all of them.
Yeah, I'm starting to think we probably sell more lubricant than we actually do toys in this day and age.
A little body shave cream.
Oh, coochie cream. That stuff's amazing. Your wife will love it.
What about us guys?
Guys love it too.
But you're kind of like me. You got the beard, but if you ever shave it, that's the best stuff in the world.
Well, you could shave other areas of your body.
Yes, you can. And actually, if I've actually been on vacation and forgot my conditioner.
Yeah.
That actually makes amazing conditioner, too. So.
Well, this is awesome. No, I've actually been looking forward to extremely looking forward to sitting down and talking with you guys and having you on and finding out about what you guys are about and what you offer the area, because I think Blue Boutique is definitely an asset for Salt Lake. Probably not a whole lot of competition.
There's some competition out there.
Yeah, I mean, now that I think about it, there's probably a few others out there, but I definitely believe that Salt Lake City wouldn't be the same without it. And
Her father was just named Catalyst Top 100 Influential People in Utah.
Really. Anything else you want to add before we close it out? I'm going to get all the website. If you want to email me that over, and then I'll get all the links. And I like to, each episode kind of put, as with every other, that way people can link up, find out about you. I think most people can probably find where a Blue Boutique is.
Just search for Blue Boutique, and you'll...
25 years, you said? 27 years?
It will be 26 in April 1st.
Wow.
Yeah, it's getting to be an old store, which is making me old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, excellent. Thank you very much, and we'll maybe have you guys back on again one day down the road.
Right.
Thank
you.
All right. Thank you so much, Fayth Martinez and Jason Vance, for coming on to the show and sharing your stories, sharing the Blue Boutique story, the Va-Va-Voom story, and then the Behind Zion's Curtain, the documentary that Jason's working on. Sounds really interesting. I'm really eager to see that when that's finished up, so I'll definitely keep everybody in the loop on that one. Again, go to iamsaltlake.com, and then episode 38. That's where you can find all the notes, the links to get in touch and connect with Blue Boutique, Va-Va-Voom, and Behind Zion's Curtain. And let them know you heard them on the podcast. Tell them what you think. Feedback is really nice. It's really nice to hear back from you guys and hear what you think of everything. It's not the easiest of endeavors to get all of this together. So drop me an email, iamsaltlake@gmail.com. Again, my name is Chris Hollifield. I'll be back on Wednesday. I'll be showcasing a new individual, a new professional, a new musician, just somebody who's making Salt Lake City just a little bit better. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you.